Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to Lunchbox Live, our virtual UK tour. Today we are in Skegness with the amazing Mr. Richard Papa Crow and Mr. Dom Boyd. Good afternoon, gentlemen.
Afternoon, guys.
So I have to say, we are genuinely both very excited today that, one, this is the first one of our UK tour, and Skegness, I couldn't think of a better place to be.
Really?
Fish and chips, caravan parks, everything I can think of. Is it Skeggy?
Yeah, donkeys, mate.
Donkeys, yes. So, so it's really good to have you on board, Richard, and thank you for being our first guest on Lunchbox Live. We are very honoured actually to have you with us. And for everyone, this is going to be regular on Tuesdays and Thursdays at 12:15, and we've got some amazing guests coming up, but we'll cover them after because the main priority is our guest today. Richard, me and Dom have the pleasure of working inside you in Paul Mort's Elitex Mastermind Group, but you have a really amazing story. But rather than me spoil it, why don't you tell us your story and why you're an expert in your field, please?
So my story, let's say, or actually life was what happened. I went through quite a long period of time where I was just a fucking dick. If I'm honest with you, might as well get the first F-bomb out of the way, aren't we? People that know me, if anybody's watching, they'll be disappointed if I don't, because they know what I'm like. So, I basically, probably when I was about 24, 25, just went off the rails. Lots of life events, as you might describe them. Dad dying. I took my son on full time. There was a big court case about that. A lot of people don't really know the ins and outs of that, but I took him on. I went from a very stable, free life, let's say, where I was able to go out, do what I want when I want. I was living at my mum's, mum rent, that kind of thing. And I just, I just went off the rails. Drugs, loads, alcohol, plenty of that. Women, all kind of the stuff that you shouldn't really do. And over the years, I mounted up a 52 grand debt and a sore nose, if I'm honest. It weren't really my finest years of my life. And I then decided that things needed to change. I had to get out of debt, which I did. Now, don't really owe anybody any money, which is great. To do that, I came up with just a financial plan for myself, just like rules and regulations, because I work well within rules. I need rules. I need the law laying down to me. Over the years, I went into a debt plan, got all interest and stuff like that frozen. And over the years, it took me 12 years to actually get that paid. So what I did deals with companies that I owed money to. I saved up, got lump sums, rang them up, did deals. And then 6 years ago, whilst I was still in a debt plan, I went back into the financial industry, and I was accepted as a mortgage broker. If you want to talk accountability, every 6 months, I have to send my credit report and my bank statements into the FCA and be regulated and watched. And they, not in these words, but they pretty much said, you're a fucking mess, but you're paying your bills. All right. I'm sure that's what they thought. All right. But it wasn't the words that they used. And over the years, I've cleared all the debt, but I've come across a lot of people that when I've done their mortgages, they come to me for debt consolidation, things like that. Or perhaps I just see poor habits in in their finances. In fact, I have picked up on a drug habit from somebody in the past and pointed out, helped them, got them into counselling and stuff. Okay, I just leveled with them and said, look, I know that something's wrong here. Okay, it's ruining your life. Which is it? Drugs, gambling, or alcohol. Okay, and they confessed. So I spoke to them about that too, having had my own experiences as well. And then over the years, what's happened is I've helped hundreds of people with their finances using my financial strategy. And then over the last, say, 7-8 months, I've just actually had people come into me just to help them sort their finances out. And so, yeah, the more you kind of speak to people about what they should do, the more you follow your own rules, is what I've found.
Yeah.
Okay. So yeah, last year I managed to pay the last of my outstanding debts. So yeah, it's, I speak to people not from a place where I'm looking down on them and their poor habits, things like that. I understand the fact that you wake up, okay, for the first 3 seconds of your day, life's fantastic.
Yeah.
And then you remember everything. And then
it's like I was saying to you, wasn't it, before? I said, no disrespect to Martin Lewis, he's an expert in his field and all of that. But when you've lived and breathed the bailiffs knocking at your door, when you've lived and breathed, the final demand, when you're waking up in that cold sweat in the middle of the night, that realism, isn't it? And that's where relatability to people, in that you've lived that pain.
Yeah. I never got to that stage of bailiffs knocking on the door or anything like that. I knew I got to a stage where the debt was unmanageable, and I just had to do something. So I did. But I was making payments on things. It was just getting unmanageable, because it wasn't just going out, nights out, drugs, alcohol. It was the car, the clothes, and everything like that. I was earning great money.
Yeah.
Okay. And also one of the difficult things is I remember opening a bank account with a high street bank, and they asked me how much I earned, and I said at the time, and they went, "Oh wow, you don't need to be speaking to us." This was like a long time ago, and they were like, "Oh, you need to be speaking to our like business management and VIP side." So I did. I walked out of that appointment with a bank account with, I think, about 10 grand overdraft, 15 grand credit card, and another credit card with 7.5.
Yeah.
And they literally drew up a list of what would you like if you had all this money.
Yeah.
And I walked out with this shopping list of things which I've not really considered I wanted.
Yeah.
And they plant these seeds and they throw stuff at you, which sometimes it's not the best thing.
And it's a very easy thing, isn't it, to fall from that that situation you're in where you've got everything. And I know, I've been saying I had a 6-figure job, and you walk in and you go private banking, and they go, "Yeah, no problem, come here, and here's your lounge," and the phone guy phones up, "And what do you need? Oh, you want 50,000? Not a problem." But of course, Dom's just lost the power on his estate. Oh dear. That means Wi-Fi won't work. So
that's what happens when you have to put the 50p's in.
Well, I should have been following your financial advice, shouldn't he? So anyway, I'll pick it up while Dom's sorting out his connection. So obviously, listen, you like I said, you're a real life Martin Lewis. Right? You're an expert. You've lived it. You've breathed it. You're in a situation you're helping people now. What would you say would be? Let's start thinking. What are the 3 worst habits or bad habits that there are in your industry people need to change going forward?
It's perception of money. Okay, so it's bad management of their finances. They'd rather spend money, and then they miss payments. Okay, on their financial commitments. That causes them to, be paying not to have a service or a good because the bank will charge them a fine. They disregard this. It can affect credit ratings and things like that. so's that then when you're on a mortgage, I'll stick it on there, mate. Sorry, just had a client drop some bank statements off. And it can affect your mortgage.
Yeah.
To the point where you could be spending £100 a month or more just because you've missed payments.
Yeah.
You know, it's the understanding that, or the lack of understanding, that you can only spend £1 once.
Yeah. And I suppose that whole thing of it spirals quickly, doesn't it? If you want you to miss that one payment and you miss that second payment, all of a sudden, you know, and I don't know whether it's any different under coronavirus and whether the lenders are a little bit more lenient now, but I'm sure they're
no.
You know, if you go to them beforehand, they may be lenient, but if you just decide I'm going to miss the payment, they'll come after you like there's a.
Yeah, the minute you start missing payments, you go into like a different level of lender where they're going to charge you a higher interest rate. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. And so, and in terms of these habits that people are forming or the industry, so we've talked there about, Dom's back. Super. Hey, put the 50p in the meter now, have you, mate?
50p in the meter? Bloody hell. You couldn't have wrote that, could you?
I'm glad you're back because I was hunting around trying to find the notes for Rich. So we were just talking about the bad sort of habits people have in the industry, and Rich was talking about, you know, the fact that missing payments and you know, that sort of thing. So back to you, Dom.
Have we done the bad habits?
Yeah,
we've done bad habits. Yeah,
listen, because there was something. Let's go. I just want to go back a step, and I was going to go jump in there. What I think is interesting is, you said you were a dick when you were a young lad or younger. You racked up a whole heap of debt. I think the inspiring pieces, and I know it could be quite a long story. So let's try and snip it to sort of 60 seconds or so. But just tell people what the tipping point was for you. What went, shit's got to change here?
Well, there's been a few occasions over the years where there's then been slight improvement and then you fall off. There's slight improvement and then you fall off. Yeah. And the biggest thing really is, right, for me is if you could do it on your own, you already would have.
Yeah.
Okay, it's that accountability. Okay, that's the key. It's having somebody that either has got your back or you feel, you know, that you've got to produce for. You want to make them proud of you.
Yeah.
Okay? And it's maybe finding that right person. I mean, for me, as people know, I joined working with Paul Moore, and there's a story to that. Yeah. If people want to hear that, Terry in Paul Moore eats shit. Paul Moore will save your life. That's the one the podcast is talks you. So there's a story behind that, but it is accountability. It's like, especially with, you know, people like Tibbsy. He's lost 100 kilo. He's one of the few people. I think he had trainers and everything along the way that helped him. And for people with, you know, I help with financial trauma and stress, which is as important as, you know, family stress and health stress. All of these things that can be treated in the same way, the same type of psychology. Okay. And for me, with what you guys do, there's people out there that are majorly unhappy with how they look, how they feel, and they seek comfort in food. To be led by people like you guys, you know, I know, Dom, you helped Tibbsy along the way, but to actually be led by somebody who's been in your position, it's unbelievable. To me, that's the key. Is that
what happened with you? You had Morty, who you seen, and you went, that guy's been in a similar position to me.
Yeah,
I need to get out. I need to get out of my shit. He's done it before.
Yeah. I mean, I saw his clip video, and I won't lie. I the first time I watched it, I sat and cried for 45 minutes because I thought, that's me, you know. So,
if I'm just conscious of time, but it ties in nicely with the 3 good habits, because if somebody's in the shit with their health or with their finances, and we're talking a bit of both here, but if they're in the shit, what are the three, if you will, three good practices, best practices? What are the three things that they could do immediately to get out of the shit?
In finance, I always teach have 3 separate bank accounts. Okay, separate everything up. So you have your bills go into one, savings into another, and your spends go into another. That way, visually, psychologically, you can see what you have left.
Yeah.
Okay. In terms of you guys, it's like macro counting.
Yeah.
Calorie counting. Yeah. Go through your bank accounts with, standing orders, direct debits. Okay. Look at iTunes. How many people got smashed on a Saturday night, have gone onto Tinder and spent 20 quid on booze in the local area, shit like that. Okay. We forget about that. And these.
Did you do that, by the way?
I've never done that. No. Definitely not since I met my missus. Anyway,
he's got a friend, though. He's got a friend.
So Terry did that?
I know people. And the same thing there is, yes, you go through your finances, direct debits, standing orders, iTunes, that kind of thing. Yeah. Do a food diary. Okay, yeah. You can find. Well, because I used to own a gym, I used to be a PT, and I'd have people come to me saying, I eat really well, but they're 5 stone overweight. And you don't say anything, but you're like, you do eat really well, but not to how you think. You'd never say you're a liar. I'd always say, look, take away this notepad, do a 7-day food diary, come back to me. Within 3 days, they'd ring me up or message me and go, Rich, I think I know what the problem is.
And we can do the same with finances.
Absolutely, mate. Absolutely. Yeah. And then the next biggest thing is save 10% of every penny that comes into your house. Okay, whether it's benefits or income, anything like that, child maintenance, save it. Yeah. One of the biggest problems that we see, or I see, is that people want something. They wait until they want it. Then they haven't got the money. They then go buy on finance or with a loan. So they're paying over the odds over a longer period of time on that. Okay. Yeah. Have the attitude of one day you're going to want something. Save for it now. Yeah.
Get ahead of the game.
Yeah.
And then if we're talking from an emotional point of view, where I'd go with that is instead of getting to the point saying, I want something, and then you go, emotions.
Do we need it?
Emotions rise. Now you're thinking irrationally because the emotions have heightened. Then you trigger the mental, and then the physical comes in. You've bought it impulsively, irrationally. You've already got the product. Later on, now you've thought rationally. You're left with don't need it, and you've got the debt to go with it that you can't pay. And like you say, that's
correct. And the thing is, when we haven't got the money or we're in a diet plan where things are ruled out, you automatically want what you can't have. So the desire is stronger. Okay, so if you've actually got the money to buy something that you want, you actually become quite protective of that money. Okay? And in terms of like your weight loss, you get protective of the weight that you've lost. So you become a little bit more fine-tuned and ask yourself the question, okay, I've worked hard to save this money. Do I really want to spend it on this? Yeah. I've worked hard to lose this weight. Do I really want to lose it on a huge binge?
Yeah.
Or do I want to gain it back rather?
Yeah, totally. I love how we've tied finances with health, but it totally is relevant because if you're emotionally driven, stressed out, we eat poorly, we make poor decisions, and if that's got a financial implication as well, we've just gone down the pleasure versus the happiness black hole. We end up with a quick fix, lovely, we're pleasured, but later on, ultimate happiness is affected.
Fast food ain't cheap, is it?
No, Mr. Crow. In a sentence or so, tell us why you're a financial expert.
Because I've lived it. I've been the idiot. Okay. I am not the person that's been earning 100, 200 grand a year looking down at people thinking, how did you get there? I'm the one waving going, I know exactly how you got there. I can show you how to get out.
Awesome.
Okay.
Fantastic. Listen, Rich, really grateful for your time today. Really inspiring as ever. And fantastic to have you as our first guest. So thank you so much for your time today. Really grateful. Before we go, though, there are a couple of things.
One thing, Tibbsy, just one thing, save Rich Crow. If anybody, Rich Crow, wanted to get some advice from anybody out there or yourself, where could they find you?
They can find me on Facebook on my personal page, Richard Crow. They can find me on my business page, which is Richard Crow Mortgage and Insurance Advisor. Or you could email me at richard@rcfinancial.co.uk. You can even drop me a text on 07790 23567.
And what we'll do is we'll put all of these in the comment section afterwards if somebody's watching this on replay so they can find it.
Fantastic. And also, I am in the midst of developing a program to help keep people accountable with their finances. It's going to be an 8-week program. It's in the development now. It's going to be a paid-for program, but there's also going to be loads of free tips as well for those that just want the tips. A lot of people, like I say, if you were already capable of doing it, you would have done. But there's going to be a paid-for program of an 8-week accountability with direct access to me. So that may help a lot of people too.
And when's that likely to be landing, Rich? When do you think that's coming?
Oh, why are you pushing me?
Because I know you've made a commitment for something like the 4th of March. You're going to tell us all about it. So I know it's coming soon.
It's going to be some date in March 2021.
Cool. No, as long as we're not, because I don't want to be waiting till April to find out and I miss out. So
no problem, mate.
Brilliant. Look, thanks. No pressure. Yeah. So a couple of things from us. Obviously, we have a free masterclass tomorrow evening at 7 p.m. The details have been scrolling throughout of this wonderful broadcast. Those details will be in the comments as well afterwards. And thank you from me, Rich. Mr. Dominic Boyd, can you tell people what's coming up next on our UK virtual tour?
Next up, we go to Coventry Tuesday next week. Same time, same place. We're in Coventry speaking to the master of discipline himself, Alex Myers, who's got a tremendous story. And we've touched on accountability and discipline here. Alex Myers is going to be is the absolute master of it, and he will give us some great insight. One, it'll be his inspirational story, same as we've done with Rich, but also tying it into accountability.
Yeah, cracking guy, Alex. Cracking guy.
Fantastic. Well, look, thank you very much, Rich and Dom, and we'll see you all for our next Lunchbox Live from Coventry on Tuesday. But don't forget, Dom and I will be live tomorrow morning for our morning boost. Check us out on our Facebook page. Thank you very much, gentlemen. It's been an absolute pleasure. Adios.
Cheers, guys. Nice to see you.
Cheers, guys.